stories told from elders and those who have passed on about what happened here.
Menegozibi Anishinaabe Chief Derek Nepinak says a committee has been hard at work for 2 years, anxious to get to the truth of what may have happened at Pine Creek Indian Residential School. It all started with the findings in Kamloops in 2021.
There's been knowledge for a long time of possible burials under the church. There's been stories that we've heard that seem unbelievable when they're told of babies being buried underneath the church, and it does seem unbelievable even to say it today.
In 2022, ground-penetrating radar showed dozens of reflections in a field and 14 under the church, leading the committee to pursue an excavation. A team from the University of Brandon will work to unearth whatever may be in that basement. First, the community gathered for ceremony.
I think what it'll do is it'll help people, I think, recognize that what happened to us was not a normal thing. Even if there aren't remains found, or if those reflections aren't what we think they might be, there's still a lot of healing that has to happen, and there's still a legacy of violence, a legacy of very difficult times for a lot of people and our families.
The committee has obtained a list of 700 students who attended the school, as well as death records. They will use those to hopefully identify any remains that may be found during the excavation. Ahead of the gathering, the RCMP issued an updated news release on its investigation of the site over the last year, saying no signs of criminality had been found to date, but went on to say, if anything is located that is possibly related to criminal activity, the RCMP has plans in place and investigators assigned to continue the investigation. Chief Nepinak says the committee will push ahead with the work for the community.
In order to protect that process, we've got to ensure that people within our circle are operating and understanding that this is our process as a community, it's our healing, and we can't allow for institutions to try to take care and control or authority in any way of our process. Otherwise, we're just back at square one again, succumbing to the will of these institutions that have oftentimes failed us in the past.
For committee member Brenda Catchaway, the search and excavation are more personal, as her mother and many relatives attended Pine Creek Residential School.
I grew up with my grandma, and my grandma was always visiting and listening to everybody talking, even with my uncles, everybody talking about what they went through. So it's kind of a mission for me I know I work hard at it, and to me it's something that needs to be done.
Archbishop Richard Gagnon of the Winnipeg Roman Catholic Archdiocese, who took part in the sunrise ceremony Monday, agreed.
It's a project by which we're trying to achieve some clarity as to what those anomalies may indicate.
He also spoke about the relationship the church now has with those community members who remain faithful.
Reconciliation is something that occurs between people, not between institutions, right? It really involves individual people getting to know one another and building relationships. And we all have a responsibility in that.
Forensic anthropologist Emily Holland and her team will start in a small room where, according to Catchaway, the bodies of community members who had passed away during the winter months were stored until they could be properly buried. One reflection was found by the ground-penetrating radar in that room. Holland says an elder on the committee asked that any remains not be moved unnecessarily.
If we do find an individual in this context, we have to be able to excavate them and then put them somewhere safe, right? So they'll be excavated, and then they'll go in the community-built box with the blankets and having opportunity for community ceremony as needed. And then they can be placed in that room. That door can be shut, the church is locked every night, so then we know they're in a safe and secure place.
Leanne Sanders, APTN National News, Winnipeg.